Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to my second 12 car videos of Cornish Car Collectors series. Yesterday I did the update on the Sierra Cosworth restoration. I hope that you enjoyed that. Today, well, something very different. Regular viewers of the channel, you'll know that I love Ford, so I'm a big Ford fan, but I also love MG Rovers. And well, to follow up the Sierra Cosworth, I thought we'd do this awesome car. What is it? Today we're going to have a look at my MG ZT260. Man, this thing is cool. As I said yesterday in the Sierra video, well, these videos, they're short features about each of my cars where I share a bit of, I suppose, my history with these cars. I tell you about them, I tell you the things that I like, the things that I don't like, my plans with the cars. Then at the end, I rate them, I rank them as to my favourite to my least favourite, albeit there isn't really a least favourite. But in this video, well, because this car's all covered up and I probably haven't started it for a couple of months, well, we're in for a treat. Because I'll connect the battery up and I'll give this a start. This thing sounds incredible thanks to that Ford 4.6 litre V8 engine up front and those X-Power exhausts out the back. So I'll get this thing uncovered, I'll get the battery connected, and well, then we'll turn the key and see if this will start. I'm pretty confident that it will. And whilst I do all of that, well, here's me a year or so ago telling you all about this car. For regular viewers of the channel, you will know I'm a big MG Rover fan. And when these came out in 2003, well, I was busting to have one. And it took me until 2015 when I saw this car advertised on eBay. I bought it off a chap called Robert, who lived all the way up in Scotland. And Robert was a big MG Rover fan. In fact, a few years later, I actually bought my MGF Trophy 160 from Robert, but that's another story for another video. MG Rover only made 883 V8s. 717 of them were MGs and 166 were the Rover 75 V8. And of those, around only 190 were the pre-facelift cars with the quad headlights there up front. Now my car is build number 156 and it's here in its beautiful Monogram Mirage paint. I think only 20 of them, or 20 or so, were produced in this colour. So this is an MG ZT260 V8 pre-facelift car, making it one of only 190 and one of only 20 in this colour. It really is a very rare car. This car is also an SE model, so it comes with the fully heated electric black leather seats, electric sunroof, the upgraded stereo with the Harman Kardon speakers. This car even came with television, albeit I have swapped it out for a more modern unit. Did you know that ProDrive of Subaru Impreza fame actually had a hand in the initial development of the MG ZT and Rover 75 V8 before MG Rover took the final stages of development back in-house? Now this car has the Ford 4.6 litre V8 engine, which is the same as the Mustang of the time. Different to the more standard ZT and Rover 75, well, this car is rear-wheel drive with a Hydra-Track rear differential there at the back. And that meant that pretty much the entire underside of this car had to be re-engineered. And to achieve this, we had to lose much of the rear wheel well, and the transmission tunnel is significantly wider than the standard cars. And that means that you lose your ashtray and trinket tray from the standard car, and a space to put your left foot when you're not using the clutch. The 260 badge denotes the power output of that big V8. The car actually produces 256 brake horsepower, which doesn't sound a great deal from such a big engine. 0 to 60 comes up in 6.2 seconds, which isn't particularly quick, but it's the noise this car makes. It's absolutely incredible. In fact, it's probably my favourite thing about it. And don't worry, stay tuned to this video because you'll hear lots more of that as I continue my drive around Cornwall. But as for the power, well, whatever speed you're doing, there's always more than enough to really pick this car up. It might be a bit of a lazy V8, but it really is no slouch. This car will accelerate on to a limited 155 miles an hour. The big challenge with owning this car though is not the fuel bill, albeit that is a bit pricey, it's part supply. You see, pretty much every wearing part on the ZT260 or the 75 V8 is bespoke to this car. And because MG Rover closed shop before this halo version of the car could really establish itself, well, they and their parts suppliers simply didn't make enough parts to keep these cars going. And there aren't enough of them on the road for aftermarket providers to make these parts so that we can keep these cars going as they age. So this car always needs something, and it's usually really, really expensive. Now, the good news is that there is a really active owners forum and community for these cars that support these cars. Both the 75 and the 260s are supported by a website or a forum called 260s.com, and it's well worth joining. Lots of advice, lots of support, and we do bulk buys on some of the expensive, hard to source parts. If you've been following the channel for a while, well, you might recognize that footage because I made it back when I drove this big V8 on my Kerno 300 road trip, where I took this car all the way around Cornwall, stopping at 20 picturesque, beautiful Cornish locations and doing all of it sticking to the coast roads. If you haven't seen it, please do take a look. Hopefully it inspires a few of you to do some of the route, but definitely to visit us here down in Cornwall, the best county in the country. Right, so open the boot just then, because the battery in the V8s, well, it's been relocated to the boot thanks to that big lump up front, there being no space. So the battery's connected, everything's looking good. I've checked the levels there under the bonnet. So it's time to turn the key and see if it will start. Like I said earlier, I've got every faith in this one, and you're in for a real treat. Here goes. I'm going to leave it running for a bit. I hope you can still hear me over the engine noise, but well, I think it's just such a treat to stand here and listen to this car run and, well, burble away. It makes such a lovely noise. I tell you, you don't need to turn the stereo on in this car. It really is, well, a treat for the ears. And this car's been off the road now for about a year, so it's definitely coming out in 2024. One of the best things about this car is rediscovering it, is getting it back out after a short layup, because, well, driving this car is such an event. It really is a brilliant thing. I've owned it now for what, I think 8 years? And when I first had it, I dailied it for that first year or so. It was quite expensive to run every day. But then the boys and I, since then, well, we've used it for special occasions, we've used it for shows, we've used it for high days and holidays, because driving this, well, it's such a unique car. What do I like about this car? Well, I love its rarity. I love the fact that it was made in the first place. I mean, it's a bonkers thing to build by MG Rover at the time. I love the way it sounds, I love the way it drives, and I love this colour, the Monogram Mirage. I think this is a stunning looking car, and because you're watching this, I'm sure that you agree. What don't I like about this car? Well, its rarity. Because parts supply can be an absolute nightmare. It's not unheard of for MG ZT260s and the Rover V8s, the 75 V8s, to be laid up for a period of time whilst a part waits to come into stock or to be made. It can be a real nightmare. And the other thing about these is there's no place for your left foot when you're not operating the clutch, because the transmission tunnel has been made that much wider to accommodate that big engine and that transmission. But there's small things really, aren't there? I can't think of anything else that I don't like about this car. The fuel economy, maybe. You know, buying one of these puts you in a fairly exclusive owners group. They really are a rare sight. But as I said earlier, the 260s community is brilliant. This has got to be a top 5 car for me. In fact, I rate it here. The car, well, it's looking nice and warm, so let's give it some revs. Here we go. how can you not love this car? I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Please join me again tomorrow for another 12 car videos of Cornish car collectors. And if you want to see more of this car, subscribe, because it's coming out in 2024 and it really is such a treat. Thank you so much for watching this one. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put some more footage of me driving and running this car at the end of this video. As I say, thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now. Bye-bye.